And just like that, it's time for our weekly roundup of all the things Lady just ain't gonna do this week. Number 1, the death of an icon. Yep, we lost Tina Turner from a long illness last week at the age of 83. And if we're being honest, it does. It feels like the world just ain't quite spinning right on its axis. She was simply the best, the queen of rock and roll, and damn it, she could be the Kang too. I mean, we all think we know her story. She was born Anna Mae Bullock in Nutbush, Tennessee, the daughter of an overseer of sharecroppers and a woman who fled the family to escape his abuse. Tina Turner was introduced to the public in 1960 singing a song that she wrote for another artist called A Fool in Love. And that song led to the birth of the Ike and Tina Turner Revue, with whom she performed and eventually married in 1962. Now, y'all know the drill. They had a very successful career, but he was fucking abusive and became addicted to drugs. They divorced in 1976, and Turner is best known for having, the greatest comeback in history, rebuilding her career in 1983. Yep, I was born in 81, so there we go, y'all. When she was in her 40s. She was 44 to be exact, and she became a superstar in her own right, with hits we all remember like Private Dancer, What's Love Got to Do With It, Simply the Best, and Better Be Good to Me. Now, we remember Tina's commitment to Buddhism and crediting her practice as what saved her life during the most tumultuous times in her life. Now, we also remember how Tina quit the United States because she knew she deserved a better life. She went on and married her a white man, honey, and moved to Switzerland. Now, we remember that Tina tragically lost her oldest son to suicide. But here's the real deal. Tina Turner was a legend, not just for the music she gave us, although blessings for that, not just for being a trailblazer, and certainly not just for being a survivor. Tina was a legend because she lived her life on her own terms. She never gave up on herself, and she showed us that at any given point in time, you can change your story and the trajectory of your life. And while the world does seem to be a little bit off kilter without her physical presence here, we are absolutely all made better by what she contributed. So rest well, dear sister. You did us proud, but most of all, you did yourself proud. Other things Lady ain't gonna do this week, 11-year-old boy is shot after calling the police for help. Well, in today's episode of how many fucking times we gotta tell y'all this shit is seriously broken when it comes to the police, an 11-year-old boy was shot by police when he was the one calling for help. What the fuck? You heard me right. The child called police when his mother's ex showed up at their house at 4 a.m, irate, and his mama asked him to call the police for help, which he did. Now, when the police arrived, they told everybody to clear the fuck out the house. And when the 11-year-old came walking around the corner to get the fuck out the house, he was shot by a responding officer. Now, the officer was placed on administrative leave, and the child is recovering physically. But also, what the fuck does it look like to recover emotionally from something like that? I mean, does no one else see a problem with the fact that we tell kids, police keep you safe, but actually, we don't tell the truth? And the truth is, we hope police will keep you safe. But the truth is, if you're Black or of color or poor or disabled or immigrant, your protection is conditional upon whether or not that officer sees you as a threat. And that threat level is mostly related to their own biased bullshit about your race, your citizenship status, your income, and your abilities. Does anybody see anything fucking wrong with that? I mean, honestly, lady, it feels like it's just too fucking much. My blood pressure is sky high, okay? Well, here's what we want more of this week, though. Bringing it down. Now, more Black women are possible in the United States Senate. So this was an interesting tidbit of news for the week. I mean, I loved it. Which is that for the first time in a hot-ass minute, and I really mean that, there could be more than one Black woman elected to the United States Senate, which currently has no, and I mean no, Black women. That's right, I said it. 0, zip, zilch, none, nada. But that could all change, and soon. Because God herself is a Black woman, incumbents in Maryland, Delaware, and California, each of which are historically blue states, are retiring. It's not a given, but there's a shot or a few shots in hell that Black women could replace those incumbents if the Democratic Party don't fuck it up. And that's a big if, y'all, because we know that the party be having some challenges shall we say, when it comes to us, even though we are the strongest voting group in the party. Now, imagine, Senator Tom Carper of Delaware is retiring, and in doing so, he threw his support behind Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester, who currently is the first woman and the first person of color to represent the state. Jesus, Delaware, what the fuck? In Maryland, Senator Ben Cardin is retiring, and PG County's Angela Brooks is campaigning to replace him. And in California, Senator Dianne Feinstein said she's not going to run again for another term once hers ends in 2024. We'll come back to this shit because, all right, I'm in Georgia now, but Barbara Lee still speaks for me, and the best news of the year is that she's running to take Di-Fi's seat. So Black women for the win, right? Well, yes and no. Hell yes, we need more Black women in the Senate. I'll take 3 for sure, but also 1 is better than 0. Shit, okay? But the big challenge here will be whether or not the Democratic Party will invest in those Black women to win. I mean, look at 2022. We could have had 2 Black women governors with Sherry Beasley in North Carolina. We could have had Val Demings in Florida, who, okay, look, truth be told, okay, I like her as a human being. And I've been relatively ambivalent about her as a candidate, but hell, she was definitely fucking better than Ron DeSantis. So what happened? Why we didn't get them 2 Black women? Well, Democrats kind of fucked it up. Abandoned Florida, basically, and most definitely didn't put it down for Beasley in North Carolina until like the final fucking hour, but by then, it's way too late. Money in politics, yada, 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 means all this shit means for Black women to win, we need money and party infrastructure. And that comes down to decisions that get made by party leadership about where them Dem dollars go. The point? If you want Black women to win, if you think it's important for Black women to be in the United States Senate, don't be giving all your fucking money to Joe Biden, child, okay? I'm serious. He's great. He's fine. He gonna be fine. You want to pass better legislation and stop these fucking weirdos in their tracks? You gotta bet on Black women. Other things we love is that Samantha Jones is returning for season 2 of the reboot of Sex and the City. Now, hear ye. Samantha's back now, y'all. You heard? Now, I'm not sure if I can really articulate how happy this makes me, but baby, thank the good Lord. We've been needed Samantha Jones, honey. And just like that really grew on me, right? Like from Big dying in the first episode, to Miranda becoming a lesbian, to Charlotte having a trans kid, to the introduction of not 1, but 2 entire ass characters of color. I mean, they really tried to do something, and they mostly succeeded, but there was definitely something missing. Like a part of the story that we just couldn't wrap our minds around, which was, where the fuck is Samantha? And what happened? What happened that she done fell out with her girls and moved her ass to London or whatever? What are you talking about? What happened to the absolute hunk? Jerry Jarrett or whatever the fuck? What happened to him? Look, it was a bridge too far for me. Now, behind the scenes, we knew that Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker do not do each other, honey. Not one bit. For years and years, something about pay disparities and whatnot, okay? Whatever, we don't give a fuck. Money talks and bullshit walks, and I definitely think the price was right to bring Samantha back, honey. Now, granted, word out on the street is that she's just coming back for like a little cameo and not as a full-on character, but still, baby steps. That show is nothing without Samantha. And that's big that I say that because I really do love them all, and no pun intended with the big shit. We'll take what we can get. But we most definitely love to see it. So bring on season 2, please, and thank you. Tune in on HBO Max on June 22nd for episode 1. And no, this ain't no promo, but HBO Max, if you're listening, you know your girl got bars, though. Welcome back to Ladies Love Notes, where we give you all of the real about being newly single and dating in your 40s. This week, we are diving back into the grab bag, where we discuss your questions on love, relationships, situationships, and all things of that nature. Now, before we dive in, let me just make this plug again so that you too can get your situation situated by sending us your best. Send it to me, honey. I'm ready. I'm reading the grab bag. I'm waiting for y'all. Y'all got some shit to say? Hit the link in our bio on IG to get your question on the show. Now, this week's question comes from Lost and Grieving. They said, I'm nearing 50 and realizing I have never been in love, nor have I experienced romantic love. I've been in relationships, but looking back and examining them, They were not loving or respectful. I don't want to give up on love, but feel like it's just something I'll never experience or have. And I'm having a hard time not feeling grief over this. I have familial love and friend love, but romantic love is non-existent. Is it wrong to give up? Whew, honey. This one's a doozy. First, I'm really, really sorry. I'm so sorry that you're feeling lost and grieving. And the first thing that Lady wants to say to you here is that you're not alone. I don't at all mean to sound cheesy here, but A, even though you might feel like you're the only person to ever experience this, you're definitely not. And B, not having had it yet means that when you do, my good Lord, it is about to be fucking amazing, exhilarating, scary, and all that. And even still, you got this. Now, for Lady, feeling grief is a sign that you're alive. I mean, imagine never experiencing romantic love and feeling absolutely nothing about it. Your body's so smart, and it's telling you that there's something that you long for and that you need, and you haven't had it yet. So thank you, body. Thanks for always having my back, boo. You always the real MVP. Love this for us. Now, real talk, though. I think it's worth celebrating that you actually know about yourself. And now the question is, what do you want to do about it? Now, my guess is some of what you're also realizing is that you've not had the connections that you wanted, or at the very least, connections that fulfilled you. And after years now of therapy, even though I'm not a therapist, let me say it again, I am not a therapist. I want to tell you, I have a hunch that in these realizations, you're also probably learning a little bit about the why of that. Whatever you're doing there, keep going. Because even though it can be scary and hard and sad and all that, the exploration you're doing is giving you valuable information about what you've learned about romantic love, how you learned it, and how those learnings have both kept you safe, taken care of you, and also kept you away from what you long for, and what you would need to experience romantic love the way that you want to. Now, I have said before that not only are our experiences shaping us, the culture is shaping us too. Everything we learn about romantic love is that it just like finds the lucky, right? Like the people who have all their shit together. The people who are attractive by white society standards are the ones that get love over and over again. So much romantic love, they don't even know what to do with it. It's just like overflow, romantic love every fucking where, right? And there must be something special about those people because really they just fall into love. They don't have to work at it. Nothing. It just falls in their lap, like Kim Kardashian or some shit. But let me share something with you, lost and grieving. Lady doesn't think that's how it actually goes. Now, I have had romantic love before, a few times in my life. And here's what I can say. Each time I experienced it, it was after a period of grief, healing, and reset. I don't know. Maybe grief is like that period when you're waiting at a red light and eventually the light turns green. And you know how like when you're waiting for the light to turn green, you start doing other shit, like you do shit in your car, changing the station, or checking your text messages because you ain't supposed to text and drive. So if you're stopped, you can check your text real quick, or daydreaming or whatever. Maybe grief is our waiting period between lights. So my question again to you is, what do you want to do with your moment between phases? Now, all right, forgive me in advance. I'm about to get cheesy for a second. I'm about to use a RuPaulism, but I think it's relevant here. If you don't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love anybody else? Self-love is the precursor to the romantic love that you're longing for. And lots of people be like, yeah, of course, I love myself. But do you really? Do you forgive yourself for the relationships you went into that didn't give you what you wanted or needed? Are you a commitment to changing the patterns and practices that have you spending your valuable time and energy with people that don't add to what you want for your life? If so, if you got all that figured out, great. Romantic love is probably on the way. It's right around the corner. But if not, that's also great. Lady proposes that this is actually what you need to work on while you're waiting for the light to go from red to green. Good luck, dear one. Let us know how the journey goes. For real, like hit me back. I want to know what you're working on.